Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 67 today for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Baku. If you guys did miss the previous episode at the Chinese Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Some of you might have not seen it. It was uploaded quite late in the day yesterday, like an hour just before the real life USA qualifying, so be sure to go see that one. Quite a cracker of an episode, really. Important one also for this season as a whole, you know, building some momentum there. But going into this one, Renault, actually the team with all the momentum in the world, a major upgrade last episode, a minor one here. You can see McLaren, Red Bull also upgrade, with Red Bull looking to even have, I think that's an ultimate upgrade for Red Bull there. If you compare the kind of slopes for Red Bull and Renault from last episode, I think that must be an ultimate upgrade then for the faction from Milton Keynes. So big step up ahead for Ricciardo and Verstappen. Of course, they kind of need it after a retirement for Ricciardo back at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And obviously at China, Verstappen had that issue and he fell away off the podium in the late stage of that race, so they need a bounce back there, as does Fernando, Alonso and McLaren. Both McLaren's very quiet at Shanghai, so both of the top teams there improving the most at the very top of the performance chart will need a strong weekend. But Renault building momentum here, and it looks like Renault are kind of in that position where McLaren were in Season 2. They're the kind of midfield team trying to break into the top flight, and they're doing that so far on paper at the moment because they're ahead of us now. Obviously, we didn't bring an upgrade to this weekend. We've got one coming at the Spanish Grand Prix, and by the end of this episode, we might have enough resource points to play around and get some upgrades for the next one at the Spanish Grand Prix, or the MONACO Grand Prix, of course. We've got the ultimate upgrade coming for Spain, but we might be able to get a major or a minor upgrade here and there for Spain or Monaco, the next one after. But also Toro Rosso making good improvements there in the bottom, trying to get away from Force India, so we'll see how they go as well. But anyway, we'll head straight to qualifying and try and take some of that, spoiler alert, momentum from the race when we got at the Chinese Grand Prix. You know, a very surprising performance, like I said there. You know, our car just rocked up and somehow just performed really well compared to McLaren and Red Bull. I don't think the same will happen here, though, to be honest, because it's going to be a real slipstream fest, and the engine power really will show here the deficit we have to other teams, perhaps. So we're going to have to kind of keep our wits about us and try to just do the best job we really can on Saturday, and especially Sunday will be the manic one with the kind of M25 kind of slipstream you get down the back straight. I've got to say, on this first flying lap, the car really didn't feel too great in the corners. A lot of understeer compared to what we experienced in the first 3 episodes of this season. You know, Australia, Bahrain and China, the car felt really fantastic actually through the corners. We're just losing time obviously on the straights in Australia and Bahrain, and China we weren't even losing time on the straights. The car was performing well, like I said, but here a lot of understeer. The car just didn't seem to respond on the front end, was very loose then on the rear as well, and so we've got some issues. And so at the moment we're down in P17. It's not a great lap time for us. We can find a lot more time there, but at the same time the quali times are a little bit suspect. You know, the top end there, Hulkenberg at the moment's fastest this session, and I think he's got like a good 5/10 on second place there. So a little bit of funny business with the timing sheet. So at the moment we've got a bit of a nerve-wracking time because we're down now in P18 and we're only just about gaining a few tenths through turn 1, trying to break as late as we can and then try and shake this car through the apex of turns 1 and then 2. A little bit wide there, could have got a little bit tighter on the apex, open DRS, and at the moment getting a little bit of time, but we need literally a second or more, I think, at this stage if we really want to make it up into Q2 at the moment. So it is actually worrying times. I'm genuinely worried that we might get knocked out in Q1 here because of the qualified times being a little bit glitchy, and also just the pace at the moment for me is not coming through. The rhythm of the circuit is just not with me as we swing through now in the last sector, just hoping and desperately trying to find some more time here and there around the circuit through the S section, then onto the back straight. And now it's just a case of hoping the engine power can pull us through. Obviously DRS going to be open and we just sit in a straight line. At the moment we're down in P18, like I said. What will it be as we cross the line? I'm hoping at least minimum P15 to get us through into Q2 across the line, and it's not going to be P15 and it's actually P16 then, and we're out in Q1. Literally a few hundredths gained and we would have beaten Stoffel Van Dorn and we would have been into Q2. But you can see, look how weird those qualifying times are. Hulkenberg massively ahead of Alonso there. To be fair, the two Renaults are very strong, so maybe that's not much of a glitch actually, because Carlos Sainz is right up there in P3, but Van Dorn's only just a few hundredths ahead of me in P15, but Alonso's all the way up there in P2, so the stark difference between Van Dorn and Alonso is just crazy in this game. Raikkonen makes it through into Q2 on super soft tyres, so that makes my performance a little bit more embarrassing, to be honest, and so it's a bit of a calamity at the very start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But if there's any place where you can make up time and overtake cars, for sure this is the place. Slipstream will be very powerful tomorrow in Sunday, so let's keep our hopes up and spirits up there and just try and do the best job we can. Let's go to the grid and see how we do.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about the engineer. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Magnussen and Charles Leclerc, Hartley, Gasly, Fernando Alonso and Van Dorn. The engineer, Ocon, Marcus Ericsson and Roman Grosjean. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we are then in P15, actually, one place higher than we qualified with a grid penalty for someone ahead of us. So not going to make much of a difference, I can't lie, right at the start here. But it's anything, I'll take it, one place. And so the strategy today will be a one-stop. And this will be the real big key. Alongside just making overtakes with a good slipstream ability on the main pit straight, it will be this one-stop here, which is the fastest strategy also on paper, let alone in theory. You know, once you get into the racing part of things, you know, with a two-stop, you get hit with so much traffic here. And we've seen so many times before, you know, there's been some bonkers results here at Azerbaijan because other cars, slower cars, have been able to jump faster cars with a one-stop. Obviously, we're not really in a slow car. We're hopefully in, technically one of the fast cars, so we can hopefully really benefit today, along with the two McLarens, because you saw there, Alonso and Van Dorn, with obviously, I qualified outside the you know, Q2, so it kind of did that same annoying thing it does in qualifying where everyone loses their pace and it's reverting back to season 1 kind of pace. So Hamilton's on pole annoyingly, but you know, what can I do really? But, you know, two McLarens right ahead of us. So both McLarens and myself will be hoping to move forward with this one stop. And I think we can do. There's going to be no rain, thankfully. So let's just move on and try and face forward rather than backwards, really. With Kimi on the front row, we need to try and match him and try and get up to him and chase after him like we almost did in Australia. So here we go then to 5 red lights for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Baku. 26 laps today to try and recover. We are underway. The lights are out. It's a poor start, though, with a lot of wheel spin in 3rd and 4th gear. The Force India of Ocon dives down the inside. We're going to follow him through and try and go down the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn as Gasly, Ocon and Alonso go 3 wide momentarily. Ocon, though, loses majorly out, and we dive down the inside of Gasly then, trying to get up into P13 and trying to follow Alonso through now. So Alonso getting away as you would expect, and like I said, we're going to try and basically, hopefully with him, get up the order back into the top 10 and into some good points later today, as we have to do some defensive work still on Pierre Gasly, though, to the end of Sector 1 as we maintain P13. But now immediately you can see you're getting slowed down already behind Alonso as the train already forms here in Azerbaijan. You know, the first 2 sectors are so horrendous to try and make overtakes. It really all happens in this final sector, though, as Kimi sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So I believe, actually, if you look at the minimap, he's leading the way. So he's jumped Hamilton at the start there. So my teammate is the one leading this race. So could it be a back-to-back win for Ferrari? We'll have to see. And that might make my situation worse if I can't recover well and Kimi wins the Grand Prix. That won't be too good for me, although Kimi obviously didn't have the best time at China anyway. So it kind of goes tit for tat in that kind of sense. But on lap 2 at the moment, still behind Alonso P13. You can see now we've got some cars making moves on each other. It's Leclerc, Hartley and Magnussen fighting each other. They're almost 3 abreast into that corner, which is quite impressive actually in that part of the circuit, as we're now trying to feed it down the inside of Alonso, but he's going to come back at us, and look at the engine power and traction the McLaren has got there, our former teammate from last season. And so we're still in P13 behind Alonso, then Leclerc, I think then it's Hartley just ahead of Magnussen to the Toro Rosso. Holding a bit of a train here. We've got a Toro Rosso leading the train and a Toro Rosso at the back end of the train because Gasly is still behind me. But like I said, here's confirmation. Kimi Räikkönen leads the Grand Prix. Second place is Hamilton still, to be fair. And then behind him is Nico Hülkenberg, Bottas, and then Carlos Sainz. So the 2 Renaults working well at the moment in this first stage of the Grand Prix. But 2 Mercs also looking not too shabby as well. And the 2 Red Bulls, to say they had an ultimate upgrade, they're at the moment way down the order in the top 10 where you think they would be. But of course, remember the qualifying glitch kind of plays into that, and they were down the order on the starting grid, so I can't blame them too much for that. As we now move on to the end of lap 3, on to lap 4, through the S section, onto the main back straight, pit straight as well, and Alonso trying to slipstream Leclerc. He's getting away from us as well. We're actually having to look behind rather than forward, unfortunately, and kind of be a little bit wary of where Gasly's coming. We've got DRS though, so we're still within 1 second, but there goes Alonso in the distance as Gasly is right up my gearbox. So we're going to pull on the racing line and just make sure we keep it good and ready in the brake zone for any kind of action, because here goes Leclerc now. He's been pushed away by Alonso. So can we try and catch him napping? I think Gasly's going to try and catch me napping as he sends it down the inside there, and still it's fighting me for that now P10, as we got a few people making early pit stops in this Grand Prix, probably a couple on ultra soft tyres if they don't go very long around Azerbaijan. And Gasly again goes for another move to the inside. We outbrake ourselves a little bit and almost slam into the back of Leclerc, but thankfully we do not, and we keep that position. And now we're in a position where we can try and overtake the youngster in the Sauber as we move on to lap 5 now. Overtake mode on ERS there. Rich mix going, and DRS going to open right about now, and we're going to get the slipstream. Gasly might also fancy a pass on Leclerc actually, so it might be a 2-for-1 kind of deal. And there goes on the top left, you can see Gasly is past Leclerc as well. So unfortunate for the Sauber, but that's 2 passes done on him, and we're up into P5 now. So even more cars have come into the pit lane, including I think my teammate is in from the lead of this Grand Prix. So really the only people out now at the moment are those trying a bit of a weird one-stop strategy, are trying to go long on ultras, and then all of us on super soft tyres at the moment. Hartley from Alonso, myself, and then behind me is Pierre Gasly. So at the moment that's your kind of effective top 3 in a way eventually, because as soon as the remaining people make their pit stops, which is the Red Bull car and the Renault I believe, Hartley will be leading the Grand Prix, actually quite surprising, although Alonso might want to try and change that as Alonso goes for the swooping move from the outside to the inside that was in turn 1. Neck and neck now, pushes Hartley out of the way, and he's up the order, but Hartley might come back in that Toro Rosso with improvements this Grand Prix and also the previous few episodes. It's going to try and make the rear taking pass there. The Kiwi man round the outside doesn't quite work though. Alonso's going to keep that position for now, but these two have been fighting so much there on that about half a lap there that I've caught right up to him, and so we now might be in the position to overtake Hartley. We're in P4 at the moment. As you can see, there's only one more car left to make their pit stop, which is the Red Bull car, and then pretty much it'll be all of us on the super softs going long in this Grand Prix. So we'll be up into P3 as we go across the line. It might be P2 though. We can try and overtake Hartley. Meanwhile, behind us is Räikkönen, that is overtaking Van Dorn. So remember, Räikkönen was in the lead this Grand Prix. He's only just behind us now, P5. So he's doing quite well in this Grand Prix. Now we go around the outside of Pierre Gasly, then up into P2 of this Grand Prix. What did I say? We made it work. And so Alonso takes the lead. We're P2, Hartley P3, and Räikkönen P4. Not too far behind us, actually. So you can see Räikkönen's already doing a good job to make up the time you lose on the extra pit stop this afternoon. But speaking of pit stops then, on lap 11, Alonso's going to come in. We're going to come in with him and cover him off and gain a heap of time on the pit lane entry there and on the braking to get it spot on the braking point there with a bit of a screen freeze for added good measure. So I was quite worried there with the screen freeze that I was going to get over the pit lane speed limit and get a penalty there, but thankfully literally got it pinpoint accurate, and so we're through, and we're actually going to be past Alonso in the pit lane. Fantastic work from the pit crew as well on the pit stop there, quick as hell on the tyres, and so we've jumped Alonso in the pit lane. Great stuff. We come out just ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then that is as Hülkenberg in the other Renault's got us there up into P4, but Sainz behind us in P5. Will Alonso be able to overtake his fellow Spaniard there on the left-hand side? I think he will, as he now chases after us towards the end of Sector 2 with the bit between his teeth there. He's looking pretty damn rapid on the left-hand side. He's going to make a huge dive bomb on the inside of that corner, over the bumps as well for good measure. Bit of a bunny hop there. We're going to do this switch back on him on the left-hand side then to the inside for this final left-hander as we enter Sector 3, and now it's just a run towards the line through the S section. Have to just stick behind him, but it's fine. I prefer to be behind him in this section because we'll get the slipstream back on him and hopefully overtake him. But you got the Renault of Sainz right up my gearbox, as well as Verstappen, I think that is in the Red Bull as well. So it might be a bit of a chaotic straight here. We go on the left-hand side. Will Sainz follow me through? Will Verstappen try and follow me through? Here we go, into turn one. We're going to cut back through to the racing line. We're going to keep that position, but Sainz down the inside of Alonso to try and re-overtake him. You've got the two Red Bulls not too far off, and also my teammate Kimi Räikkönen's Brendan Hartley gets out ahead of us in the pit stop phases. So I jumped Alonso, but Hartley jumped myself and Alonso. So a Toro Rosso with a great strategy there. They must have really pushed hard on that in-lap there because they did an overcut on us. I didn't think me and Alonso fought too hard on that outlap of our own, but clearly we did because Hartley jumped us there completely cleanly, and he's actually waltzing away from us. Meanwhile, we're still fighting Alonso into turn one on lap 15 there with 11 laps to go. Go really wide on the exit and a little bit harsh on Alonso, but you've got to get the elbows out there. We want to keep this podium position for now up into P3, but Hartley's doing a fantastic job. Remember that Renault in first place of Hulkenberg. I think Hulkenberg will be coming in for another pit stop, and obviously we're all going to the end of this Grand Prix, so Hartley could be in a net P1 by the time Hulkenberg comes in, and Hulkenberg does eventually come in. So there you have it. The Toro Rosso is leading the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Could we have another crazy result? We had Singapore last season where Gasly won it. Could it be the turn of Brendan Hartley to win a race in that Toro Rosso Honda car? We'll have to see, but now we're up into P2. Alonso P3, and he's still right behind me. He'll try that same similar pass, I think, on this next straight on the run to the end of sector one with DRS there. We're going to go defensive to the inside, I think, and push him to the outside as he'll have to try and go the long way round there. So he pulls out on the right, we're to the left, and so we're going to keep this on the inside and keep him at bay for one lap longer. But how long can we keep doing this, really? Because he keeps coming at us pretty much every other lap. He basically loses some time after trying to overtake us and then recomposes himself. Behind is then Dan Ricciardo, then Kimi Räikkönen, then Van Dorn going pretty okay. So both McLarens in higher positions than they were at China, I guess. But we got some yellow flags there, and I think it's going to be, as we focus on Dan Ricciardo, I think it's going to be some pretty bad news for any Red Bull fans out there. It's going to be Ricciardo out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. For the second time in 4 races, Ricciardo retires from a Grand Prix. It's not a great start there for the team that's technically the fastest on the grid. 2 retirements in 4 races is just not good enough there. And Ricciardo, if he didn't have 2 retirements, he could be well up there already in the championship fight in terms of the standings. Obviously, it's very early days with 21 races in the season, but still, you've got to say it's not a great start to the season for Red Bull, and it's all too familiar from season 3. Is now Alonso once again on towards lap 18. We'll try and make a move on my outside of turn 1, and again, hopefully, we'll try and outbrake him there. It's going to be a big lock-up on the front left, so Alonso, to be fair, gets a better run, and now he's actually got me here, so we have to stick behind him and try and make a pass on him on the next straight as we go through with DRS this time. So the detection point was kind to us. It was ahead whilst we were behind, and so we pull out on the right hand side, and we're going to try and do what Alonso couldn't do and make the move on the right hand side of this next corner as he gets very close to the wall. I do as well, but on a street circuit, that's what it's all about, trying to graze the wall to get as close as we dare. But now we lock up on the front right. That's a mistake from us, and Alonso now is still side by side. He's got a nose just side by side with my rear tyres at the moment. He's going to try and go the long way round. They'll have the next inside for the next part of the chicane. He actually bumps into us there. There's a bit of contact there between 2 former teammates from McLaren. And then you've got Hulkenberg also trying to get involved as well because he's right behind me in the mirrors. We're just going to be able to hang on to P2. Alonso P3 for now, but Hulkenberg right up the chuff of Alonso. So Hulkenberg the lead car on the 2-stop strategy. So I wonder where the likes of Räikkönen, Hamilton, Bottas, even Sainz have kind of fallen away to, because I can't see them anywhere. We haven't seen any signs of them on any kind of clips or anything like that. I think they must have had some sort of issues with traffic or just, I don't know, well, hopefully not for Räikkönen's sake, any major incidents, but Hulkenberg down the inside of Alonso, and he's going to be up into P3 of this Grand Prix. Alonso now has to try and defend from, I think that's Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber, actually. Now we've got a safety car with less than 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix. A full safety car is being called out there for some reason, and so now Hartley was leading lead in the Grand Prix, but now we have a very good chance of maybe taking the lead at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the restart here. So could it be quite a miraculous P15 to P1 in this race? We'll have to see, but of course, remember, Hulkenberg is in a bit of a faster runner, it seems, in this circuit, and he's got an even better chance to get that first place, because remember, you can see on the right-hand side on the heads-up display, my tyres are frozen cold, and it's so difficult to get heat into these tyres compared to the AI here, so I have to be careful. But to be fair, this is probably one of the easier places to do a restart on the safety car, because it's literally just a straight line, so we just basically wait for Hartley to bolt, and as soon as he puts the pedal to the metal on the right-hand side of the cockpit, we're going to do the same thing, get on the loud pedal and try and keep up with him. So we're still weaving around a little bit, trying to get last-minute temperatures into these tyres, but we're going to wait, and when will Hartley bolt? It's going to be now. There he goes, and so we nearly lose the back end a tad, but we're straight on the power on overtake mode on ERS, and here we go now. It's a great restart from us. Very weird, actually, to see a good restart from a player versus AI on the safety car coming in, but it's a big lock-up into turn one, the front left there. We've done nearly a Sebastian Vettel from the real-life Azerbaijan Grand Prix of 2018. Nearly completely went on at turn one, and again at turn two, another lock-up there. So feeling the pressure a little bit, and also that's got to be the tyre temperatures not being too great on those front tyres. And now Hulkenberg's past Hartley, and Hulkenberg might try and overtake me now into the end of sector one on the outside there. Can we do anything to defend from Hulkenberg? We try and squeeze him towards the wall, but the German has it. He's in a much faster car at this stage of the Grand Prix, and he's up the order on those super soft tyres and into the lead of the Grand Prix. Can I do anything to keep up with him? I'm not too sure, as we go very wide and have a horrendous corner on that left-hander into the right, and now we look behind us rather than forwards, and Hartley right up our chuff, and Alonso also nose to tail with him, so we might have to be careful of the podium positions rather than P1 here, unfortunately. And to be fair, I think of all the people that deserve a win, I think it's probably more likely Hulkenberg or Hartley than I do, but you know, you got to take what you get. And so we're in P2 for now, still on towards that 24, but here comes Hartley then. Hulkenberg absolutely gone. He's bolted, he's got P1 locked down, but Hartley's trying to get P2 from him. We go neck and neck into turn one. That Toro Rosso still are maintaining at some crazy pace at the moment, at least in the hands of Hartley so far, but he goes a little bit too deep into that corner. We do a switch back, trying to straighten the car faster than he can, and we do get the power down a little bit earlier than he does, and so we climb up through the gears in 8th gear, powering through an overtake mode there, down to none on ERS to try and save it, because we don't have too much ERS left over. I want to make sure I have enough for later in the lap and also the remaining 3 laps, but that's going to mean that Hartley is able to go around the outside and get up into P2, but now we are saving a lot of ERS by being in none, and so we can wait very patiently onto the back straight and just try and simply re-overtake him in a straight line. So playing it tactically here to make sure we can do this in the easiest possible way. And so with that, onto the second last lap of the Grand Prix, round the outside then of the New Zealander on turn one. A little bit of a lock-up on the front left, but that's not going to matter. We get a great exit off turn one, and we're back up into P2. But now, again, the Toro Rosso might have a good run with a DRS on this second one, and we don't have a second bite of the cherry because the activation point's separate from the first one, so he might be able to try and re-overtake me. He's going to go to the inside there. We're going to keep the outside line. It will turn to the inside eventually for the next right-hander of this next part of this city section. So we're on the inside, and we're going to pull it through onto the racing line, actually, and keep P2 that way. But on the run to the end of Sector 2, again, in the place that Alonso made the dive bomb, Hartley might make a similar dive on the left-hand side there. He goes down the order. It's a big lock-up, though, and Hartley's hit the wall. It's a horrendous moment for Brendan Hartley there. It's utter embarrassment for him. He dives down the inside, but unlike Alonso, unable to control the car, and he goes straight into the wall. One of the weirdest crashes I've seen there, in terms of I've never seen an AI car make such a horrendous mistake like that. Double lockup whilst overtaking a player and into the wall there. Very surprising. But now we've got more things to worry about, because look at this. Ocon and Verstappen have got oodles of speed in a straight line here. There's slipstreams there with them, and they're going to be both past me. So we've gone down the order to P4 now. Verstappen down the inside of Ocon for P2 in this Grand Prix. Ocon now has to try and fend off myself. Can we try and make any kind of pass here? Can't make a dive to the inside there. He's going to squeeze me into the apex, so I have to wait until this straight. DRS open there. Try and use some ERS, but also I want to keep enough to maybe save some for the end of the lap, because I think now, unfortunately, P2 is out of the question. We're trying to get P3 back from Ocon there, because I think Verstappen's going to have too much pace in the middle of the lap, so we have to try and wait patiently and overtake Ocon maybe towards the last sector. But here goes the replay then. Hartley, bad lock up there, straight into the wall. The same place, remember, where almost Gasly, his teammate, had a crash in the real life Azerbaijan qualifying, was it? So now we move back to our POV, and here we go. Literally the last sector, the last couple of corners onto the back straight. Can we do a Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll to Esteban Ocon here as we climb climb up 8th gear, rev it out to the max, open DRS on the line, ERS going to overtake mode, Rich Mix going, and here we go towards the finish line, across the line, and it's P3, I think.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
Brilliant stuff from Renault today. What a superb victory. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Here come today's winning drivers, and what a race it was. This is a team that knows success very well in F1, and they're just itching for even more. Congratulations to the Renault team for their excellent win today.
Taking a look at the replay then of that ending before we go to the full race results. Look at this. On the right-hand side there, we just get through into P3. We have the same finishing time. Literally, you'll see on the timing standings, we get the same classified time. I don't know how they decided I got that P3 and he got P4, but look at that. The biggest photo finish I've ever had in an F1 game there. It's not, you couldn't get any closer. Literally, our car is in the same exact position that Ocon's car is in across that white line. We have the same exact lap time, so I don't know how they chose who got that. Maybe because I've got double A in my name there. Alphabetically, I should come in 3rd place. He comes in P4, but absolutely stupendous end to that Grand Prix then for P3. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep P2, but Verstappen just had way too much pace there. As soon as he got past us, he was able to waltz away on the faster compound tyre. But Nico Hülkenberg then getting his first ever victory in Formula 1 in the Renault Works team here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Well done to him. Fantastic work. And with that, he climbs up into 2nd place of the championship. So I think today, in this race weekend, Renault have announced themselves as a championship contender maybe. It looks like to be a bit of a fight between Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull and Renault. If McLaren want to turn up to every Grand Prix and if Red Bull want to try and make a car that actually can stay in a race, it might be a 4-way scrap between 4 different teams. Because we've had now 4 different winners in the first 4 races. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. So we're going to round out the episode then with the final interview with Claire before we get to R&D upgrades going to Spain.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Obviously, traffic was a bit of a nightmare here and there at Baku, especially at the very start in that first stint there, but I'm going to compliment the team and say it had the kind of limbleness of a ballet dancer there and kind of compliment the chassis side of things.
Another podium. You must be getting used to it up there.
Obviously, the team expects podiums and kind of nothing more from me. Podiums and wins, so going to go for that right-hand side answer there.
First in the championship. How does that feel?
I've said it before, it's very early days in the championship, so I didn't want to go for a cocky answer, but they're the only 2 available to me, so I'm going to say it's coming home, lads. It's coming home.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
Going to compliment the team here, say it's a team sport, try and bring up the morale and the reputation with Ferrari there, be really sportsmanship there.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And so with that, it's the end of the episode then, guys. If you did enjoy it, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, you can subscribe for weekly full-on content. But we're going to talk about R&D updates then into the Spanish Grand Prix, because we have a fair amount of points available. We're also going to do some contract negotiations, so we do that quite quickly and get a pretty good contract with the upgrade speeds on the level 3 maximum, race bonus on level 3, and we're still the first driver, so we're getting the maximum amount of R&D points that we can get available to us. But we are going to talk about then upgrades. We've obviously got the ultimate engine upgrade coming in for next episode, the Spanish Grand Prix, but we've got a lot of points now where we can potentially buy not only one major engine upgrade, but also I'm thinking a minor upgrade on the chassis front. So we're going to go for tyre wear actually in the end of it. So tyre wear upgrade for the Spanish Grand Prix and also the ultimate, and that major upgrade will come for the Monaco Grand Prix. So really nice to have 3 upgrades on the pending. So that's going to be a big boost on the engine side, and also tyre wear is just going to generally help us out in races over the course of the entire season, not just one race in particular. So guys, once again, if you did enjoy that episode, hit that like button for Nico Hülkenberg winning a Grand Prix finally in his F1 career. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.